the Deutsche Kammerphilharmonie Bremen and conductor Paavo Järvi, musical allies on a mission to create a new Beethoven. They want their version of the Beethoven symphonies to suit the 21st century. They call it the Beethoven Project.
Why another cycle? Who needs another cycle? We will always need another cycle.
Bremen in northern Germany. From here, the Deutsche Kammerphilharmonie is conquering the musical world. Paavo Järvi has been the orchestra's artistic director since 2004, and since then almost anything seems possible. Sold-out concerts, resounding world tours, and acclaimed recordings. The next milestone, performances of all 9 Beethoven symphonies at the Beethovenfest in Bonn.
When I met them and I heard them play Beethoven, it became clear that this sounds how I want it to sound.
It took years until we were able to produce our characteristic sound quickly.
At this point, a different mood suddenly comes in. A fateful mood, as I see it.
Beethoven was a humanist. He did not compose only for a concert audience. He had a message for the whole of humanity.
And his message is being heard around the world. The Beethoven Project spells success for the orchestra.
30 years ago, when they started, the prospects were not good. It was only going to happen if people believed in the impossible.
Our views on how things should sound in Beethoven symphonies coincided. And the willingness to go deeper and find the little details and obsess on every detail, which I love about this orchestra because they are obsessive, like I am.
Percussionist Stefan Rapp lives in a formerly squatted building in the center of Bremen.
We specialize in one instrument, but I see myself not only as a percussionist, rather as an artist. I came to percussion quite late. I used to play the horn in an orchestra, and for a long time I played the piano.
Stefan Rapp has been a member of the Deutsche Kammerphilharmonie Bremen since 1996. He's been part of the Beethoven Project from the beginning. The project began back in 2004, and it continues to make demands of the musicians.
Our style has developed over the years. I don't just play as I like. It's something we've worked to achieve. We've discussed it many times. Is the sound too hard or too soft? It took years until we were able to produce our characteristic sound quickly. Now we get up to full speed fast, like a Ferrari, but we still want to be even quicker.
Beethoven has this strange progression. You have one of the greatest symphonies ever written, like the Eroica, and then you have the fifth that everybody knows. And yet in the middle, between these two great masterpieces, you have something that is basically a classical symphony, something that should have followed the second symphony. Maybe it was a piece that had to be in between these two major milestones because one had to maybe get away from the Eroica to kind of, it's like that sorbet between the meals, just to clean the palate, just to make sure that you're ready to go on to something else.
At this point, a different mood suddenly comes in. A fateful mood, as I see it. It touches you. It's difficult to say how. It's something huge and dark. Something you can't escape from. Nobody can get away from this thing. It's the touch of fate which can enter any life at any moment. And every time we play this passage, I sense that the whole orchestra is experiencing this feeling.
Das ganze Orchester einfach dieses Gefühl durchgeht. Ich spiele sehr gerne Bratsche, weil ich den
I like playing viola because I love the sound very much. It's deeper. It's a more easygoing instrument. You don't have to play so high or so fast. This is a viola. It's my instrument. It's what I earn my money with. How old do you think this instrument is? Who can guess?
20 years old? I think 20 also. 50? 20 or 30? 10?
Anyone else? What did you say?
100.
Not bad. 250 years old.
The musicians of the Kammerphilharmonie are frequent guests in the classrooms of their partner school. They try to make the children curious, to get them enthusiastic about music.
I think it's very important to test whether what I do as a musician touches people out there. Is it possible to get it across to children and young people? Can the message of classical music only be understood by people who are properly dressed, sitting in a concert hall? Or is it something children can understand? This is a great opportunity for us.
Das ist für uns eine große Chance.
It goes on like that for 10 minutes.
Die ganze Zeit. Ich hab es mal. Das kann ich gar nicht spielen.
Hallo Frau Stolz, hier ist Hornung von der Deutschen Kammerphilharmonie Bremen. Tut mir leid, es ging nicht schneller.
Behind the scenes, the orchestra has 15 employees supporting the musicians. The audience doesn't see them, but they contribute their share to the fine performances. In the management office, concert programs are designed, tours are planned, and media appointments arranged. The message of the Beethoven Project is being heard around the world.
Soll ich dir die neueste Neuigkeit sagen?
Shall I tell you the latest news? You know that magazine in the States, The Absolute Sound? Every year they give a Golden Ear Award, and the recording of the first and fifth Beethovens with Paavo has won it. It's great, and it's a rave review as well.
30 years ago, when they started, the prospects were not good. No one wanted yet another orchestra. There was no need for one, and it was quite clear that it was only going to happen if people believed in the impossible. It took the uncompromising attitude that these musicians have, and which you can hear in the Beethoven performances.
Ich mache das jetzt seit 40 Jahren, genau, dieses Jahr 40 Jahre.
I've been doing this for 40 years. This year it's exactly 40 years, so it's a kind of anniversary for me. You need strong nerves to do it as a job in the way that we do, with the touring and all the stresses that go along with it. But it's always a great joy as well. It's fun when it works, when you see that the practice has paid off.
Beate Weiss lives with her family in a suburb of Bremen. She began violin lessons when she was just 4 years old. In 1991, after studying music and initial steps as a professional, she applied to join the Kammerphilharmonie, then still based in Frankfurt.
My father said, think about it carefully. Is it a secure job? I was always influenced by my parents, so I tried out somewhere else as well. But then I decided to take the riskier option. I just liked the idea. Shortly after I started in the orchestra, there was a huge crisis. Frankfurt suddenly said, "We've run out of money, so you either have to slim down radically or go somewhere else." So there I was, looking at the situation and thinking, well, I wonder how this is going to turn out. Now I've been here 18 years, and I don't regret it.
Out of the crisis emerged an opportunity to move to Bremen and make a new start.
If you have something that short and so powerful as a kind of a motto, it's not even a theme. Everybody can remember that. Even in our time of reduced attention spans and MTV generation, even they can understand pam 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 pam. For me, the music loses something if it is just one of those big dramatic gesture after dramatic gesture. Maybe sometimes the scale of everything is too big in this traditional view. So for me to try to convince the orchestra saying, look, it's not pa 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 pam, it's ya pa pa pam, ya ta ta tam. Out of these four notes, he constructs the entire symphony. Everything is literally variation, augmentation, diminution. All of a sudden that becomes a phrase. But it comes.
In my view, this is the strongest passage in Beethoven's entire symphonic output, at least up until his 9th symphony. Beethoven was a humanist. He did not compose only for a concert audience. He had a message for the whole of humanity. All of a sudden, he focuses all humanity on one individual, and he makes one instrument express this individual's feelings. I have an ambivalent attitude to this oboe. Sometimes I take it out of its case, and first of all, nothing seems to work. I have to fiddle with the screws and make adjustments. It's very sensitive. I really have to work at our relationship.
Ulrich König joined the Kammerphilharmonie in 1988, at the time when wind instruments were added to the strings. A key component in creating the sound of König's oboe is the reed, made from French reed cane.
You always hope it's going to be the best reed you've ever made. If you buy it from someone else, you're somehow dependent on them. But I like to be independent. Making these things is a real pain. You're happy if you make one good one in every 10 reeds, but you have to accept that you're going to throw the other 9 away. Not bad. Let's see what we can catch today.
Whenever possible, König likes to spend time at a fish pond he owns not far from Bremen. Today he's here with his 2 daughters and their friends.
I enjoy coming here. It gives me some balance. Being out here in nature is a way of relieving stress. Sometimes I sit here all night and fish for eels. It's really important for me to have this.
der Natur zu sein, das ist für mich wichtig und bedeutend. Mache ich sehr gerne. Ich habe auch schon mal ein
It can create a problem for my marriage when I stand here at the water's edge, just looking and not noticing anything else around me. But I did once rescue a drowning boy from the water, so my wife has forgiven me.
Also von daher hat meine Frau mir dafür verziehen jetzt.
And all of a sudden you have something that goes away from all the human issues and concentrates on nature. Why it's so touching is because you all of a sudden you see that maybe all the stereotypes that we thought about Beethoven and that these famous images of Beethoven are not true at all. It's not meant as a soundtrack, it's not meant as an illustrative piece of work. It is the mood, the atmosphere of it, the air around it, that's what makes a difference.
To play this passage, you have to take risks. If it works, it's a lot of fun, and I think it's really special to listen to. There's a note here, written as F, that does not appear in the natural tone series. To sound it, you have to stop it. That's to say, put the hand into the bell. It's a question of nerve. A lot of it is very exposed, and because the mouthpiece is outside, it's somehow out in the open. So the risks are high, and if you're not totally fit, and if you don't hit the notes right in the middle, you can make a mistake, and everyone will hear it.
Like many members of the Deutsche Kammerphilharmonie Bremen, Elke Schulze-Höckelmann spends some of her time giving private tuition at her home. Among her students is 11-year-old Charlotte.
If you hit the note here, it won't sound so good. And here it's the same. But if you hit it right in the middle, it can really vibrate as it should. Many people compare it to competitive sport. The brass players are usually there an hour before the rehearsal to warm up. You need all your muscles. Your breath has to be flowing. You relax your lips or tense them a bit, depending on how much you played the day before. I really like going to rehearsals. I never think, oh dear, another rehearsal. It is tiring sometimes, but I'm not constantly thinking I would rather not go to work. I've heard of other orchestras where that's so, but I've never seen that here.
This is a dance symphony. From beginning to an end, it's a dance. When you have the beginning, you can see the gesture. It's to me, it's so visual that I can't even conduct it any other way, because I need to make these gestures. It's a kind of an introduction to a dance. The most interesting thing about this symphony, and most misunderstood thing, is the last movement. Because last movement has traditionally always been interpreted as a kind of a relentless motoric movement. I can't imagine who would dance like that, or what kind of dance would it be, and who would dance it. And then, after a little bit of reading, you realize that it is an Irish dance. And it's yam paradiridim paradaradim paradiridim padi yam paradiradam parada paradirada yam paradam.
It's like a great orgy, which gets ever more enthusiastic. But it still has to be a dance, as you would dance at a party. The rhythm mustn't be too heavy, or it becomes laborious. Just like any orchestra would, I play the rhythm, digga-da, 2 semiquavers and a quaver. But I have to play it a bit shorter, in a more lively way.
This dance that started as a kind of a nice sort of ordinary folk dance turns into this kind of a maniacal, mad, crazy gallop to hell.
The Beethoven Project continues. Coming up in Part 3, Paavo Järvi travels to his hometown of Tallinn and thrills the crowds at the Estonian Song Festival. Back in Bremen, conductor Járvi completes his CD recording of all the Beethoven symphonies.
The ninth is a kind of a landmark. It's not a symphony anymore. It's a kind of a legend.
And the Kammerphilharmonie heads to Bonn for the Beethovenfest in the next part of the Beethoven Project.